for round one to take place in just a moment over 16 laps. Rintaro Sato from the land of the rising sun. He was the fastest qualifier on Wednesday morning with a time of 49.642. It's been a great week thus far. We are still to decide the finals. Let's take a look at the highlights of qualifying and the heats and the pre-finals that have taken place thus far this week at Adria. WSK Supermaster Series champion 301 Alvin Lindblad was really, if ever, outside the top three. Throughout qualifying in the heats, a reigning junior world champion newly crowned for Ricky Flynn Motorsport, Freddie Slater, to start this final on the second row of the grid. The Jamaican sensation Alex Powell. Well, he was quick, but he was also controversial as well. Taken out in an accident in the pre-final yesterday. We'll have to start way back. As will Harley Keeble in the 333 Tony Kart. Karol Paszovic will start on pole position in just a moment. In fact, we will have an all-Polish front row of the grid. Timiko Hachik on the outside of the front row of the grid for this OK Junior final in just a moment. So we look at the poles on the front row of the grid. To the left of your screen, Karol Paszovic. To the right is Timiko Hachik. Karol in the 319 Birolart. In the 320 RK Kubica kart of Roberto Kubica. His protege driver to the right of your screen. You look at the pole sitter, Karol Paszovic. 319 the Birolart out of grid 1. And Timiko Hachik in just a moment. We'll see the other Polish driver out of grid 2. May well have a Polish victory here this afternoon. We are preparing the national anthem of Poland because Karol Paszovic, now with the Birolart racing team, who have certainly been in form in KZ2, but also they've got a very quick junior kart as well. Timiko Hachik, the RK Kubica kart, well, it comes out of the same factory in Lisone. Starts out of grid 2. It's on the outside. That is critical. All English, second row of the grid as you look at the driver from London, Alvin Lindblad, the WSK Supermaster Series champion from earlier on in the season, out of grid 3 alongside the reigning junior world champion, Freddie Slater, who gave Ricky Flynn Motorsport their 5th world championship just a few weeks ago. 327 for RFM, Sebastiano Pavan out of grid 5. He is the first Italian alongside one of 2 Americans inside the top 10, James Agozzi. We'll take a look at the grid for you in its entirety. The poles on the front row. So it is Karol Paszovic and Timiko Hachik out of grid 1 and 2. It's an all-English second row of the grid. Alvin Lindblad and fast Freddie Slater. Sebastiano Pavan and James Agozzi from Florida, USA. Rashid from the Emirates and the kid from California, Kai Sorensen. Jan Puhui and Jonathan Favor, the Viking from Denmark, out of grid 10. He starts ahead of Emo Fittipaldi, Giovanni Trentin, Maxim Ram with RFM, Skognobilio, Darius Fabuano, Tobias Clausen, Dimitri Matviv, Keanu Elizzari, the second Emirati. Martinius back to 19th alongside Francesco Marenghi. Then it's Nico Lemberg for Koski Motorsport and Sebastian Schinmark. Rintaro Sato, the fastest qualifier, back in 23rd alongside his RFM teammate from Singapore, Dion Gauda. Harini Tella, the French-American Enzo Deligny, Lacorte and Maxwell Dodds. Jesse Carrasqueto from Mexico and Harley Keeble in the 333 Tony Kart. Jules Roussel, Nathan Sharp from Amsterdam on debut in WSK in the 337 Energy. Gustav Wisniewski, the all-in-back ex-Spree driver for Forza Racing. And on the final row of the grid, lucky to be in the race, it is Ugo Ugochukwu. Was crashed out off the pre-final, but given that he wasn't the first retirement, was still classified 17th. That equates to a 34 grid start. European champion Ugo Ugachuko, one of the fastest on the circuit, but back in grid 34. We'll keep an eye on him as the Poles lead the field up to the line. Welcome to Adria for the WSK Open Cup Junior Final. And we race. Great start from the second row of the grid, Alvin Lindblad, but he's got nowhere to go. Slater and Gotzi around the outside. So the outside row is not necessarily a negative factor when you make a great start like Slater and Gotzi did. James is ahead of Kart Race, who had made a disastrous start. The pole sitter back to 5. In fact, James Gotzi, the American 4. Arvid is 3. Timiko Hachik is in second place, but Slater leads the way. James forces his way through. The American up into P3. It's a messy start. It is ragged as they're 2 and 3 wide. They're trying to find some rhythm. No problem for Freddie Slater. He leads them across the line for the first time. Hachik in second place. The gap just 0.3 of a second, and then we wait a full second back to the American James. Arvid and Carol side by side. The Londoner and the Pole. Kart Race tries to take him back. So now the field settles down on the second lap of the race. The OK Junior Final, the double-header race weekend. In position 1, Freddie Slater. 3.27 for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. Kuhachik in the RK in second. There's James in third, the American. He won, ironically, his final heat on Thursday evening. That was Thanksgiving Day in the USA. He won it by a massive 7 seconds. And he's really been in form. The Florida Winter Tour champion over the past couple of seasons. One of the few Americans who were able to make their way across the Atlantic to race with us in the WSK season for 2020 as the Eastern European. In the RK car, Timiko Hachik goes through and puts Freddie Slater back to P2. There's James in the background in third place. And Carol. Jonathan Vavart has made a great start as well in the Forza Racing kart. Also Sebastiano Pavan and Rashid Al-Daheri, I should say, the driver from Abu Dhabi in the Emirates. Former WSK champion in the Supermaster Series and the Euro Series. That was in 60 minutes, a much faster prospect. In OK Junior, and Rashid is now into position 8 behind Jan Pulkui. 3.08 in the Kart Republic. And Rashid has just made his way by, in fact, putting Jan Pui from Jian in central China back a place. Jonathan Vavart, Kai Sorensen, the second American, inside the top 10 in the 3.16 Paralin. The kid from California, Kai, goes by, and Keanu Alazzadi, great start from the second Emirati in 11th place as Kart Race dives down the inside and goes position 3. James Gotzi back behind now, and Alvin Lindblad, the WSK Supermaster Series champion, in position 5 in the 3.01 Kart Republic. Freddie Slater from the Midlands of England, the reigning junior world champion, having taken that title just a few weeks ago in the pouring rain down in southern Portugal. 3.27 for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. In the background, you see Arvid go by. The English-speaking drivers 4 and 5. Arvid from London, James from Florida. There's Kart Race, the pole sitter. Disastrous start for Carol in the 3.19. The Biralat, there he is though in third place, starting to recover. The problem is Alvin Lindblad has been so quick all week in the 3.01 Kart Republic. He'll be right on the rear bumper of the Biralat in just a few moments as Freddie pushes Timek down into turn 1. The infield hairpin, the track is 10 metres wide. It is so hard to defend here at Adria. Passing opportunities absolutely everywhere, virtually on every corner. We'll check the order for you as the race settles down. One car running off the circuit in the background. That battle between Vejvaart, Alazari, Scognamiglio, Clausen, Trentin, Gauda, Harley Keeble. From the back of the grid, Keepsy now up into 16th place. That is a brilliant drive from Harley in the 333 Tony Cup. We will almost get a glimpse of the Englishman in a moment. Now ahead of Maxime Ren, Francesco Marenghi, Martinius Stensone. Disappointing for the Norwegian, who was consistently in the top three throughout his heats. Martinius ahead of Emo Fittipaldi, Dot, Sato. Talk about disappointment, the second generation racer from the land of the rising sun for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. He was the fastest qualifier in Taro Sato with a 49.642, but here in the final, as they race with 9 laps now remaining, Sato down in 22nd position. An enormous task for the son of the two-time Indianapolis 500 winner, Takuma, who is watching on live, not from Japan, but from his home in the United States after taking his second victory in 2020 in the world's biggest single-seater open-wheel motor race. As Freddie Slater dives down the inside, retakes position 1. There's Pashovic in 3. So the Poles in 2nd and 3rd. Half race distance coming up now. Kai Sorensen with a 50.4. The American in 8th place is the fastest driver on the circuit. As Timek and Carroll, both the Poles, go by. We started with Polish drivers 1 and 2. We started with English drivers 3 and 4. And at half race distance, that's exactly what we've got. Hachik, Pashovic, Slater and Lindblad, Sebastiano Pavan. There is the top Italian as Slater slams it down the inside and retakes position 1. Now the Brits go 1 and 2. Alvin Lindblad. This is ominous. The Swede English driver who lives under the flight path of Heathrow Airport. He's been able to get some sleep in the last 6 months. As the world's ground to a stop, it hasn't stopped him at all. Alvin Lindblad up into 2nd place. This cool Kenny driver in the 301 Kart Republic, we remind you, he won the WSK Supermasters Series earlier on in the season back in July at Sarno, Circuito Internazionale Napoli. Freddie Slater, he won the big one. The World Championship at Portimao down in the Algarve region of southern Portugal in the pouring rain for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. And he now runs position 1. Before I finish the sentence, that has changed. Lindblad, 301 goes by. Slater takes him back. The Cosmic versus the Kart Republic. Look at the fight. The final of OK Junior. There's Sebastiano Pavan. 307 the Kart Republic. Kai Sorensen drags himself into this battle as well, along with Jan-Paul Hui. There's Kai in the background. Will sweep around and try and take both Jan-Paul Hui and Sebastiano Pavan. Look at the fight as Karol Pashovic on the outside incredibly takes Freddie Slater. Fabulous move by Karol in the 319 Birolart. 6 laps now remaining. Lindblad from London leads across the line. Pashovic in 2nd from Slater. Then it's Hachik. James Gotzi, he's not out of this either. 2 Americans now inside the top 8. Pavan, then Sorensen and Jan-Paul Hui. The 2 Emiratis, Rashid Al-Daheri from Abu Dhabi, Keanu Al-Azzari from Dubai. 9 and 10, you'll see them in just a moment. There they are going through. As Pavan, or in fact it was Pavan, and Jan-Paul Hui have their own battle, the Italian running off the circuit. So there is Lindblad. They're slow out of the left-hander. James Agozzi knows it. He'll try and take Timiko Hachik. He's in P5 at the moment behind the arcade car. Ahead of them, Karol Pashovic, Freddie Slater. But at the end of the 11th lap, it is still Lindblad who leads. Just a 1/10 of a second, the time is irrelevant. He drives across the apex. Freddie Slater had to get out of the throttle and Pashovic goes by. This is still anybody's race. It is now an 11-kart fight for the lead. The WSK Open Cup here at Adria Karting Raceway. Pashovic goes wide on the exit. Slater right behind. Alazadi and Jonathan Vivata are in this as well. The Forza Racing Team driver 328, and they're starting to incredibly drag Tobias Clausen and Giovanni Trentin in this battle as well. Harley Keeble up to P14 from grid 30. Lindblad still does lead. At the moment, he's too good. They will launch an attack. He's got 14th of a second over Karol Pashovic in second place. There's Slater, goes down the inside, too far back to take Karol in the Birrell Art. It's in second, the Kart Republic's in first, and the Cosmic in third place. There is Jonathan in the background, going by and taking Kai Sorensen, moving up inside the top 10 now. Incredibly, they're still on the track. We have barely had any karts make contact. Clean at the limit racing, the WSK Open Cup. Chiano Alazzardi for DPK Racing. In the background, 3-1-2, he's in 8th place. There are now 3 laps remaining. The WSK Open Cup, the final event of a tumultuous 2020. As Chiano Alazzardi goes down the inside into turn 1. Sitting right on the back of James Agozzi. James has fallen back to 10th. He was in 5th place, the Florida Winter Tour champion. Chiano Alazzardi for DPK Racing. Great drive from him. With 2 laps remaining, we have unfortunately lost Maxim Rem and Emo Fittipaldi. The fight for the lead, it's not over yet. 2 laps, just over 2.5 kilometres remaining. So the order is this. It is still at the end of it. Lindblad from Pashovic. Slater gets the run in third. Hachik, Jan-Paul Hui up into 5th place. And it's Sebastiano Pavan with a 50.284. The fastest driver on the circuit. Down the inside goes Karol Pashovic. Finally takes Alvin Lindblad. Now he goes left. He white lines it. I've told you the track is 10 metres wide. Lindblad goes around the outside. He runs off the circuit and Slater swoops around to take position 1. Lindblad from the lead back to 4, back to 5, back to 6. Jan-Paul Hui and Sebastiano Pavan go by. Right on the tail of Lindblad now is Kai Sorensen, the cool kid from California in the 316 Paralin. Slater will lead them across the line to take the last lap board. The WSK Open Cup. Slater, the reigning junior world champion, Ricky Flynn Motorsport. They're down in pit lane watching their boy. He's got a lead of 0.3 of a second from the arcade kart of Timiko Hachik. The pole setter, Karol Pashovic. Remember, he started out of grid 1 15.5 laps ago. As Pavan comes together with Jan-Paul Hui, the Kart Republics are out. Slater from the 2 poles. Hachik in second. He is too far back, but Slater runs wide. He will turn right going into the hairpin. He white lines it into the middle of the corner. Hachik is helpless. He defends down through into the chicane. The reigning junior world champion, Freddie Slater, wins the WSK Open Cup opening round from Timiko Hachik and Karol Pashovic. What a fantastic race here at Adria. Lindblad, after all that, crosses the line in P4, and the cool kid from California, Kai, goes by. He's driven home into 5th place. Freddie Slater has won an amazing race. We take a look at which the highlights of from pole position. Karol Pashovic at the end of the first lap was back in 5th place. Fabulous start from the drivers on the second row of the grid, Slater and Alvin Lindblad. As Hachik and Slater pulled away initially, but as they fought, the rest of the field caught up. It was an 11-kart fight for the lead towards the end of the race. Hachik and Pashovic, who have grown up racing each other in the mini category on the circuits of Poland in the east of Europe. They ran 1 and 2 before Slater went by, taking 2 karts in 2 corners for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. Alvin Lindblad made it an English 1 and 2. The Londoner led for much of the race. Look at Pashovic lock up to avoid running into the back of the Kart Republic. Lindblad led, they threw absolutely everything at him, and this time that move did stick. Slater into the lead, Pashovic retook the place. This was a brilliant move by Karol Pashovic, just muscling in his way by Alvin Lindblad, who will go from first to fourth. Sebastiano Pavan and Jan-Paul Mui coming together in the dying stages of the race. They take each other out. Freddie Slater takes the victory for Ricky Flynn Motorsport. Timiko Hachik and Karol Pashovic on the podium in second and third place. Lindblad fourth. Brilliant drive from Sorensen. Rashid sixth. Jonathan the Viking seventh. Keanu eighth. And Harley Keeble, look at that. Keebsy started out of grid 30, an absolutely barnstorming drive. Harley Keeble passed 21 karts to finish in position 9, ahead of James Agozzi from Florida, USA. Freddie Slater has taken victory. Stay with us on WSK.IT. The podium presentation in just a moment. The podium for OK Junior, the WSK Final Cup. It was a brilliant race. The OK Junior Final, the drivers just getting prepared here. The Vega Cap going on. We're ready to proceed with the podium for the OK Junior Final, the WSK Open Cup. In third place from Poland for Birulat, Karol Pashovic. Second place also for RK Racing, also from Poland, Timiko Hachik. The winner of the opening round of the WSK Open Cup for Ricky Flynn Motorsport from the Queen's England. This is fast Freddie Slater. Third place, Karol Pashovic takes the trophy. Timiko Hachik in second place. And Freddie Slater, the winner of the WSK Opening Cup opening round here at Adria. And with that, the national anthem of Great Britain. The podium for the OK Junior Final. In third place, Karol Pashovic. Second, Timiko Hachik. And Freddie Slater wins the opening round of the WSK Open Cup here at Adria Karting Raceway. Stay with us on WSK.IT. The 60 mini final will be back in just a moment.